Hello YouTubers out there, this is Jerry Sutter Review at the Movies. So the following video is something I recorded back in Halloween, early November of 2016, alright? So it has to do with the Conan O'Brien show and when I went to see Conan in Harlem, New York, 2016. Enjoy. Hello YouTubers out there, this is the Boob Wasteland show. So, well, this past week I went to Harlem, New York at the Apollo. And this is where I saw Conan O'Brien, who returned to New York for the first time in, geez, I don't know how long it's been, long before he got the gig at The Tonight Show briefly in 2009. So, I've never seen Conan O'Brien. I never been to a show. Certainly, I mean, I live in Maryland, and I used to live in New York and New Jersey, but I never went to the show because going to these things was never occurred to me to go to them. The only one that I went to as far as these late night hosts was the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. That was back in 2000. That was a brief half-hour thing. It wasn't even that long because they were filming a couple of segments and he was there. And it was so brief, it didn't even feel like the whole show. There was no interview, and it is a terrific show. I've been watching Conan O'Brien largely because of my wife. I've never really watched Conan that much. But I started really watching him about 11 years ago, which is, ironically enough, well, I don't know if there's a shred of irony to this at all, but it's when I first met my wife. Anyway, so, being at this show was amazing. As you all know, Andy Richter is his sidekick. So you have the warm-up comedian who's on stage, and he had some people dance on stage to a rapper, and of course now I forget who it was. But anyway, they got to do a dance. Whoever did the best dance got a t-shirt, but of course they all got t-shirts. Then you have the basic cable band on the side that was performing. We actually got to sit on the second row next to where the stage is. So we were right there. And my wife made a sign that said, even Jub Jub is a Fleshtones fan, because we were pushing for, and my wife actually has been pushing for getting the Fleshtones on Conan for at least over a year and a half now, I think. And the Fleshtones is easily the very best garage rock band, let's put it this way, probably the very best rock band that we've got. They've been performing for 40 years. So anyway, we both wore Fleshtone shirts just to push this. She held up the sign briefly, he saw it and smiled, and my wife even got to hug him. So we got the tickets in the mail and all this stuff. But anyway, but once the show started, it was just an amazing lineup. We had the guest was Ryan Reynolds, of course from the film Deadpool, amongst other things, and then there was a comedian, Rory Wade, I think it was his name. Very good comedian, talking about, of course, politics. I mean, what else is there going on right now that everything kind of hinges tonight? This is November 8th, so this is election night, so I really wanted to do the show tonight so I won't have to think about the election. Anyhow, so, and the show is very tightly put together. I mean, clearly they all hit their marks. The basic cable band is an amazing live band. In fact, we got to meet two of the band members at the Starbucks around the corner, so it was really cool. We got there, the tickets, you have to go there in advance, be there by 9 a.m. The show actually started at 5 p.m., so we kind of hung around in Harlem for a while, so which is really nice. We even saw the community garden, which is on the opposite side of the Apollo, on the back end, and this is the Nelson Mandela Community Garden. An interesting thing about that is that we were sitting there because there's a bench and you can check out this garden. It's really quite nice, and there are a few little signs here and there. And some of the people from the Conan show were coming up, and clearly they were going to film something, so we got out of there. And what they ended up filming is something that ended up as a little skit with Ryan Reynolds and Conan. which was the Notebook Part 2. And of course the two of them have this kiss that goes on for a while, and this is what they were filming in the community garden, later found out, so that was interesting. But we couldn't really hang around, but no one told us to leave. But the show itself but it feels like you're at a live concert. I mean, it was really just, it gives you a whole different impression of how the behind the scenes works. The length of the commercials, for example, the commercial interruptions, which is really the band performing, they are a kick-ass band, that is timed in such a way to match the commercial interruptions that they would have throughout the show. So it's really just really well put together. I mean, it's amazing. He is very funny. Of course, I think Conan is always funny. Andy Richter, I couldn't even hear his announcements at the beginning because the crowd was so into it. I mean, we were encouraged by the warm-up comedian to be as loud and raucous as possible, and to really give them that boost that, hey, you know, we are here to see you, Conan. So it was really, really quite something. I didn't notice when I watched the actual show how much was really cut out of anything at all. Yes, so if any of you ever have the opportunity to see Conan live, I would highly recommend it. Of course, the Apollo is a historic theater, so that was in itself a major plus, because this theater is where Etta James made her mark, Richard Pryor, Buddy Holly, Stevie Wonder, Red Fox. My God, I mean, there's just a whole list of people. So the theater carries a certain kind of charge as well. It's very ornate, very beautifully designed theater, now run by mostly white people, of course, but that's for another time, that story. But in terms of really just seeing a show like this, and seeing them in the flesh, not through a television, it was really just, it was amazing. Also interesting, whenever, as you know, like most shows, they cut away to either a filmed skit or a scene from a film or whatever it is, whatever anybody is pushing, there was a giant screen in the front of the stage, which is where they observe the clips and so on and so forth. Now, probably the Conan show in LA is a little bit different. I'm sure they have an actual monitor that they're looking at, but in this case, this was a giant screen, like if it was it was projected. So it was really quite interesting to see that difference. Yeah, my wife even got to hug Conan, so that was nice. And just an amazing evening, also, there is a link in here. Please help get the Fleshtones, one of the greatest bands of all time. Of course, my wife would want me to say the best band of all time, and they are incredible live. If you've never seen the Fleshtones, which includes Peter Zaremba, Keith Strang, and Ken Fox, and a few others, Bill Miser, watch them. They are sometimes in LA, New York, I think, well, certainly Jersey, Philly, and of course outside this country too. So check them out. And if you see my show, please, they know who I am, they know my wife, Dana. Tell them that we are pushing for them. But if you happen to see the Conan show and want to bring up the idea that maybe the Fleshtone should be a special guest on their show, because they never have been, a music guest, then that would be fantastic. Please do that. But yes, check out Conan. If you ever get a chance to see a taped show of Conan, check it out. It's amazing. It's lots of fun. Of course, we were at the Apollo, so it was even more engaging than you might think at their usual studio out in LA. But check them out. So a great time. And of course, now here there are some pictures that you'll be able to see from the Apollo outside and so on. Interesting. You're not really supposed to take any photos inside the theater. Now, I took a couple of my wife, of course, because, well, why not? We were inside the stage, and this was before the show even started, so I think that was okay. But no video or photography is allowed inside. You can't bring your own drinks or food, and they actually check your bags when you come in there to make sure you don't have anything. So it's really very tight security, but a pleasant time. And clearly everyone was having a rockin' time. This man is great stuff, so check it out. And that's never really talked about Conan on this channel or my other channel, Jerry Sadavia at the Movies. But hey, that's what I think. It's great stuff. Amazing show. See it live, and recommend the Fleshtones to be a guest on his show, please. That's what we're pushing for. We're hoping it happens someday. And this is the Boob Wasteland Show with your host, Jerry Sadavia, signing off.